Hello everybody, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. This is Dotty. Yes, I've been spending money. This is the Beemax Platz 1/12 scale Lotus 99T from 1987, and this actual car was taken to victory by Ayrton Senna in 1987 at Monaco. It should really have been second, really, because Nigel Mansell was way out in front in his Williams, and then had I think it was a cracked exhaust, had lost turbo boost, and ended up coming second. Or even no, he didn't finish. He pulled in, that was it. He couldn't finish. So I think he ended up as a did not finish, or maybe it was like the last lap or something. So he ended up fifth. I don't know, but anyway. So yeah, this was a very, very famous car. It was the first ever car with hydraulic suspension that was activated with computers and sensors and God knows what. It was the first ever car to win a Grand Prix with that suspension on it, in the hands of Ayrton Senna. It won one more Grand Prix later in the season. I think it was Detroit, and again Ayrton Senna won, and that gave Lotus its last ever win of the season. The car is fitted with a Honda V6 engine. I think it's an RA166, I think it is. And the Williams was also fitted at the same time with an RA167, which was the current engine. This was the previous engine. So yeah, they were amazing cars, and yeah, I love turbochargers. I really do like big turbocharged engines and stuff. So these things were stupid. They were running daft boost pressures. Previous to this, it was even more daft. But they sort of regulated it with some pop-off valves and stuff. But anyway, without me waffling anymore, let me get this on the bench and we'll have a look at what's in the box. They've also just released the McLaren MP44, which is the same kit that Meng produced, but I've heard bad things about the Meng kit. I'm not going to slate it because I've only heard, I haven't witnessed it myself, but I've heard it's a little bit toy-like. So hopefully the Beemax kit is better. I'm going to have a look later if it is, and if it is, I'm going to order that as well, because it's such a fantastic car with such an amazing history. It just won everything, I think, in 1988, wasn't it? So anyway, without further ado, let's get this on the bench. Let's get Dotty sat down quietly, which she's doing now, which is unbelievable. Say hello, Dotty. And I'll see you in a second. All right, so here we are at the bench with this beautiful model. This is very, very reminiscent of a Tamiya kit. Box size and everything, box art. It looks very, very Tamiya-esque, doesn't it? There has been talk that this was a Tamiya re-release. It's not. It's a brand new tooling. It's a Beemax tooling. I don't think it bears any relationship with Tamiya at all. So it's their first in the series. They're calling it the vintage selection, so I'm assuming rather than being a vintage selection, like like Airfix has a classic range of kits which is old tooling, I believe they just mean this by its age. I mean, here we are now, 2025, 87 I guess is vintage, isn't it? So there we go. Old men like me think of that as the yesteryear, but youngsters like lots of you will think, hey, when was that? Who did 87 actually exist? So there we go. But here it is. If I put the camera far enough away to see the whole box front, then it'll be up in the bloody ceiling. So we'll just have a look around the box. So Lotus 99T, ready to assemble precision model kit, carbon mix special material suspension arms. That's good to know, because a lot of the Tamiya kits had metal arms, because they are a bit spindly and easy to break. Highly detailed static display model, accurately scaled V6 turbo engine, removable cowling, authentic exterior and interior, semi-pneumatic rubber-like slick racing tyres. They can often be a problem. If I think of it in the video, I'll show you what happens to those over the time. And recommended for experienced modelers. Yeah, the price of this, I would say, is for experienced modelers, but I should imagine, being a modern kit, I should imagine it would go together quite easily. So I should imagine if you've built a couple of these cars, you'd have no problem with this whatsoever. So yeah, beautiful box art, beautiful artwork on there. You can see there we've got Platz and we've got Beemax. Same company. I think they're actually known as New now. I've got a couple of their kits. I've got the Audi R8 because I wanted to do a KFC one. And I've got the Delta S4 as well, which is one of my all-time favourite cars. So because it's a Lancia. So yeah, looking around the box on the side here, again, very Tamiya-esque. Lotus 99T. There's some words about it there. You can freeze frame and have a read should you want to. We've got images of the car there, the cutaway with the turbo engine and everything there. And then we've got colour call-outs, and we have Mr. Hobby, Aqueous, Mr. Colour and Tamiya. So that's a really nice range of colours for us there. They haven't sold their souls. And they're calling out a paint here called Hobby Mayo SP001 99T Yellow. Tamiya TS34. So Tamiya do a Lotus Yellow. Of course they do the 20th scale, don't they? So Tamiya do the correct colour as well. Probably best to go with aftermarket like Hero Boy or something like that, Zero paints, and get those paints and use them on a you know, with a clear coat and everything. What a lot of people do with these, they like to put the decals on and then clear coat, give the whole thing a glossy finish. Of course, in real life, the car would have had a glossy finish, but the decals would have been, you know, for all intents and purposes, stickers, which would have a different sheen. So, you know, you could actually paint it and then put the decals on, whatever. This model has Lotus decals rather than the Camel sponsorship. Obviously, they're not allowed to have cigarette advertising. They're not allowed to have cigarette advertising on the models, although this car at Monaco would have had the cigarette advertising on, but I believe by now in Silverstone it would have been like this, because in the UK cigarette advertising was banned by this point, I believe. I can't. I don't count me on that, but I think it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then actual smoking was banned in public places, wasn't it? That was in '99, wasn't it? I think. Anyway, so here we go. We have a beautiful model to look at. We've got the other side of the box as well. Oh, we have images of the built model. It sounds like the packaging isn't that great. I'm hearing it all knocking around in there. So there's an aerial view of the car there, and then we've got an image of the built-up model there, and we have an image of the engine all built up there. There is an aftermarket set for this, as I say. The thing on here, ibbautoracing.com. I have to have a look at that, see what's on there. Yeah, there is an aftermarket set which I've actually ordered, which is made by Beemax as well. So that includes the camel decals, it includes all the carbon fibre decals, lots of photo etched seat belts and bits and pieces like that. So very nice indeed. So let's have a look in the box. And what I'm going to do is probably we'll just leave things as they are. I'm going to put a light on. Okay, I did not put a light on earlier because of all the glossy box. But we can see here the packaging. I have seen a review of this online, which is what I saw it come up, and I thought, I didn't know they'd done this. I saw it online, I thought I'll have a look at that, and I had a look at it and fell in love with it, so went and got myself one. So I have seen a review of this already, so, you know, I could be a little bit biased. Anyway, so there we are. So we've got sprues in here. It's very much like the old Tamiya packaging, isn't it? With the separator in the middle with the body in there, and then bits and pieces over here. But all of this has been rattling around. I hope none of it's damaged, but it looks like, you know, we do have sprues in bags together, so we may have some damage, but hopefully nothing too serious. I actually bought this. Now, if you look around online, you'll see this kit is around about, in the UK, is around about £250 to £260, which is lots and lots and lots of money. A lot more than a lot of people can afford. I happened to come across this I went onto eBay and clicked the shopping tab at the top, and it gives you a list of retailers down the right hand side. And believe it or not, Leeds Model Centre Leeds, I'll put a link in the description below. Model Shop Leeds or something it's called, 185 quid. So, you know, that's like £75 cheaper than some other shops. I couldn't believe it. It was available at Jadlam for 190, I think. It's 185 quid. You've got to pay the postage, but £185 as opposed to 260. So yeah, bargain. Well, hardly a bargain. It's a plastic model car, but compared to 260, 185 quid is a bargain, isn't it? So let's have a look at this kit. As I say, packaging is not amazing, but it's sort of all in one piece. Basically, we've got the engine and gearbox in there. We've got this, for some reason, we've got this one stray bag of vinyl. I don't know, I thought all the bits of piping and everything were in this box. But you can see we've got this lovely little box here, and this is made to look like a toolbox. You can see on there we've got, this is the part box, but it's made to look, it would have been great if the top had opened like a toolbox, wouldn't it? But you can see it's like a toolbox, and we've got the drawers, and we've got the stickers on here. Interesting, the guy I saw did a review, mentioned it's got the Top Studio sticker there, which is which do a lot of aftermarket sets, but Platz have done their own for this one, so we've got Top Studio there as well. So maybe Top Studio are going to do something for this, I don't know. But there we go, so there's that, and then the tyres come in this lovely box here, which is made to look like a tyre rack. The tyre warmers on it. How cool is that? It's pointless, it's gimmicky, but it's just nice that somebody's taken the trouble to do it rather than just stick it in a box. Or I mean, they could have made the blister tray like Tamiya used to do. But yeah, so without further ado, what I'm going to do is get the bench sorted out, get the lighting sorted out, and we'll start off by having a look at the instructions. Okay, so here's the little pack that we get. So we got a little pack there with some decals and obviously seat belts in. I'm not a big fan of these seat belts. These are the same as Tamiya use now in their 12 scale kits. They tend to have, sort of leave a white edge on them. They sort of look very fake. But I believe the aftermarket set has the ribbon seat belts. But you can get the ribbon seat belts from many different suppliers anyway, which are much better than those. And then we've also got the decals in there, so we'll have a look at those in a minute. Here's a flyer for a 1980s Grand Prix driver figure from a company called Zoom On, zoomonmodel.com. So there's a 12 scale figure there next to this kit. Interestingly, whenever you see pictures of this model built up, it's never got the tyre logos on. Two heads to choose, so you've got one with hair and one with a hat, so that's nice. And we've got decals for the suit and for the helmet and everything, so that's nice. No doubt this is the Ayrton Senna. So, and we've got the camel on there. Look, we've got the camel sponsors for the overalls, which is a nice touch. Or we've got the Marlboro there for the Williams, not the Williams, the McLaren. So there we are. And then here we've got the colour callouts and the decal placements. Obviously they don't have, they obviously don't have licensing from Goodyear, so they've gone Oud Ye. So you've got what they've done, they've broken up the decals so that they don't have to have the licensing. So you'll have G, Oud Ye, and then R. Something very clever way of getting around it. So and also we've got the Lotus, and then we've got the Colin Chapman logo there on the Lotus rather than the Lotus symbol, I believe. But yeah, there we go. Or rather than the camel symbol, should I say. So that's nice, all very pretty. And then here, very interestingly, the older folk amongst us will recognise this. This is the instruction manual, and when you compare this to old Tamiya manuals, it's exactly the same, which I think is why some people may think this has some Tamiya heritage to it. If you look here, these are the instructions. You can see how yellow they are. These are the instructions for the old Ferrari 641 to F190, and you can see when you put them next to each other, they're pretty much identical. You know, actual pictures of the real car here. We've got the, see, they called it their vintage selection, and they've called this their vintage selection. We've got some wording there and then some wording down here, so it's very, very similar. Let's have a look at the back and see what it's like. Yeah, very similar. Got the parts call outs, but it's unusual for Tamiya to have actually parts call outs. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, very interesting. I thought that was very nostalgic, very sort of echo of the past. Anyway, let's have a look in here. Got some lovely pictures of the engine and stuff there. There's a lot available for this car. If you look around on Google Images, there's lots and lots you can see all about this car. So here we've got some lots and lots of wording all about the car. And we've got some information here. Important information to be read before assembling this product. We've got some different languages there as well. How to assemble, use nippers, and don't feed parts to your dog. Okay, so here we have all the colour callouts, and what they've done down here, they've given us these are the Mr. Hobby colours down the left hand side. Okay, so the 1, 3, 8, 9, 26 and everything, that's the C colour, and then this is the aqueous. The H is the aqueous colours. So a lot of the time they do match. You can see 1, 3, 8, 9, they do match, and then they sort of get lost then. You can see down here we've got a Japanese, English, Spanish and Chinese description of what the colour is. So Mr. Colour 1 or Aqueous 1 is white, which is Tamiya X2. You've got the Tamiya mixes down there as well. So XF2 to XF64 and a mixture of 2 to 3, okay, to make the wood brown. Alright, so very nice, very concise, very complete painting instructions. And then down here they've got basically you've got a description of the colour here in English, and you've got over here you have the Tamiya colour. So here you've got the Mr. Hobby being mixed, and here's the Tamiya colour. Here you've got the Mr. Hobby with the Tamiya mix. So here you've got the X31, which is the titanium, I think, isn't it? And then X18 is semi-gloss black. And then you've got XF16, which is a flat silver. Now I would look seriously at these colours and look at your LPs, because they're much better paints, especially with the metallics. They go down much finer, they're a lot harder wearing, you don't need primer. So have a look at that. Here we've got how to apply decals, and then here we've got some bits and pieces that you might want to buy yourself, and we've got the legends here. So the way these colours work, you will find you've got A, B, C and D. So here you can see on the engine we've got D, 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 and D is the semi-gloss black, okay, X18. But then down here you've got a number. So you can see here you've got 76 and 75. So 76 is metallic blue, 75 is metallic red. So it's showing you where the 76 is and the rest of it's going to be red. Okay, they're telling you there to drill a hole. That's the way they paint things work. So what are we doing here? We are, it's telling us which way to turn the screw to drive it into the hole. Looks like they've got triangular holes. So we've got a nut going in there. That's probably going to be to secure the engine and gearbox to the belly pan. And then we've got screws here holding the lower suspension in. And then we've got what's that, a filter or something there. And all these, got these lovely unions, and you've got all the hydraulic hoses here coming off as well. And they're giving us here what you need. So you're going to use a S3 screw and a BP4 nut. And then you've got a rule here for cutting your vinyl tube to length. So here again we've got the front of the engine, D. Probably change this build sequence around and get that nut inside first, and then get all the main engine built up, spray it, and then start adding these little bits afterwards. Telling us here to remove, that's probably an ejector pin there, a Z pin. But we're adding the top of the transmission and everything there. And then here we're starting to work on the intakes, all the colour callouts there. It looks like it's very, very detailed with levers and stuff. Here we've got some fuel injector piping. Here we've got an oil filter by the look of it, and an oil filler. I'm guessing that is, it's going to be dry sumped anyway, I think. And then here we've got some sort of filter. I wish they told us what these parts are, because there's going to be hydraulic pumps and everything on here for the actual suspension. So here we've got the brackets going on. So this is all these little metal brackets by the look of it. I believe they're metal, and they're going to be going onto the transmission to support the suspension. And then here we've got the rear plate going on with the tail light and everything on there. I'm assuming this is some sort of hydraulic actuator rather than a shock absorber and spring, but I could be wrong. And then here we've got drive shafts going in, and we've got lower arms going on there for the rear suspension, and there's a hydraulic actuators going in as well. And then we've got wishbones going together. These are those special carbon fibre impregnated plastic. And then we've got an oil cooler here with oil pipes, and that's for the transmission. That's a transmission oil cooler there. Brakes going together. These will be carbon fibre, so don't go painting them bright silver or anything. They're carbon fibre. And they're telling us here to remove ejector pins as well. We've got a screw going in from the back into a nut. And then we're going to add the brake cooling ducts, add the brake calipers. Job done. D47, that's decal application, number 47, and on the other side, decal 47 as well. And then going over here, we're going to fit our brakes and the uprights and everything. So we've got our screws going in, and then we're starting on a really interesting part of the build for me. This is the turbos. So we've got the actual compressor, we've got the turbine, we've got the dump valve there with the pipe coming out, we've got the dump pipe. All very, very nice indeed. I believe these were limited to 4 bar, I think, in 1987. May have even been slightly less. I know they after this they limited them back down to about 2.5 bar. So before this, engines were producing 1500 horsepower. It was absolutely crazy. And then in 86 they restricted them, so they produced about 900 to 1000 horsepower. And then by the time of the 1988 with the McLaren MP44, they were down to only about 750 horsepower. That's all, you know, from a 1.5 V6 engine. Absolutely crazy. So you can see there the turbo assembly's gone on with the turbo supports onto the engine. Absolutely beautiful. Really nice. Now we're starting on the floor pan. Got the fire extinguisher going in there. We've got front suspension actuators, and then we've got pedals and bulkhead going in here. You can see building up the pedals there with the reservoirs and everything on them, so you can paint them up all nicely. Do your research. There's, as I say, there's lots of pictures on Google. And then we've got some brackets here going on for the actuators. Got the actuators being built up, steering column going in, and then more brackets for the suspension part. Oh no, these are brackets for actually mounting. It's telling us to put decals on here, telling us to paint that yellow now. You can see there they've got the rod coming through. It shows they've taken the drawing from somewhere else, but don't worry about it. You're not supposed to have that rod. That rod's there, so that's going. You can see it's going through that hole. And then here we're building up the cockpit, the seating area. We've got some hoses going in there, and then we've got an actual gear shift. Yes, these cars had a gear shift. They didn't have flappy paddles, and they've got some more hosing going on there. The T1 is obviously a wire, and what they're telling us to do is just strip the cable and then just glue the end in. So we've got some more ejector pin marks to come out of there. Building up the seat belts, building up the steering wheel, adding decals and painting it. Instrument panel here, again, decals on there. And then adding front suspension, building up the front discs. Again, we've got decals going on, the Brembo decals on each side. For some reason, they're telling you to put the Brembo decals here. They don't mention it there, but they give you the other side symbol. So, yeah, very weird that. And then we've got fairings going on around the upper wishbones. And then here we've got ejector pin marks to come off. We've got this panel here going on top of, I'm guessing it's a fuel tank. The roll bar there with an antenna on for the... They used to talk to each other, didn't they? They could talk to the car, and the car would talk back to the pits. And then we've got some ECUs here with... we've got connectors going in for the big, very expensive wiring looms these race cars have. Put the end of the wire into the gap between the cockpit and the engine. Okay. Here we've got the ECU going in, and then some more bits and pieces. There's another antenna going on the front, and then we've got decals for these rivet washers. Basically, they're rivets with a big washer around them to spread the load. If you just use rivets in carbon fibre, it would just break through. So they're just spreading the load. And then here we're going to add we've got some more brackets going on to the belly pan. We're going to bolt the engine down to the... we could bolt it down. It's not showing. Yes, they are. We've got screws going up through here. So there we are. And then we've got the actual the front of the car going on. So obviously we've got a screw going in there for the front and a screw going in there for the back. If you remember, we put a nut in the bottom of the engine. I'm guessing I didn't notice, but we probably put a nut in the bottom of the main body as well. And then we've got some air intakes going together. Is this intercoolers or radiators? I'm not sure. That's intercoolers. That's radiators. So we've got water radiators there, intercoolers there. And then doing the same on the other side. Again, we've got another blow-off valve there. So we've got a wastegate on the exhaust, and we've got a blow-off valve on the actual intake tubing. And then we've got a pop-off valve on the plenum at the top of the engine. So we've got lots of hosing going on here. Lots and lots of hosing. It's a very nice kit. It's very complete by the look of it. And then we've got the plenum chamber, and there's our pop-off valve going on the top there. And then we've got some air intakes going on, giving us all the different colours that we need. adding those air intakes to the side there going into the turbos. And then we got these, I'm guessing these are supports for the Venturi on the back. Front wing going together, rear wing going together, adding the rear wing, showing us where the decals go if you're going to use them, or you'll get the aftermarket camel ones. And then here we've got the inside of the actual main bodywork going together. This has just reminded me, there is a guy on YouTube. He's done like I think it's about 150 part playlist on building this. But yeah, go take a look. It's like a whole sort of 15-minute video just covers sanding the seam filler on these joints. So go and have a look. It's very, very detailed, but it's a beautiful build. There we are. There's the body going down over the top. And then here we have screws holding it all together. I hope those screw heads aren't visible. That's not very nice. I don't like seeing visible screw heads on models, especially on the out surfaces like this. I mean, yeah, you kind of get away with it on suspension and stuff, but there and there, I don't like that. And then here we've got a wrench. We've got wheel nuts going on. So the wheels are obviously removable. And then here we can see there's a final image of the model with the negative camera in the front wheels. And there's a line drawing of the model built up. And then there's our sprue callouts. So all in all, looks like a very, very complete kit. We've got mesh, we've got tyres. Do we have PE? I don't see a PE fret here. We must have PE parts. And then we've got tubing here, 3 different diameters. We've got 0.6, 1mm and 1.5. We've got a screwdriver. And yeah, very nice indeed. And then we've got all our screws down here, lots and lots of screws and lots of brackets and stuff. Oh, there is a spring. There's a spring in there. So I should imagine it's like a damper or something. Maybe the spring actually supports the hydraulic damper. I know that it's absolutely incredible. There's video footage of this race, Monaco Grand Prix, and you can see on the road circuit of Monaco, all the other cars are sort of bobbing around and bouncing around, and the drivers' heads are going. And this thing's got centre side. It looks like it's on just like a magic carpet or something. It's just smooth. There's in-car video as well. If I think of it, I'll put the link in the description below this video. There is an in-car lap of Senna doing Monaco in this car, and you can see just how smooth it is. And the camera's sort of up on here, so you can see the front wishbones working, and it's just amazing how the suspension works. But it was incredible in these days. If you weren't around, these teams used to develop some fantastic stuff, and then it proved to be so good that the year after all the teams had it, and then it got banned. You know, I mean, it was like in this year, this was the first year where they banned qualifying tyres because they were just so fast. Yeah, they reduced the turbo boost they were allowed to use, and then they reduced it again the year after, and then they banned them. You know, it's crazy. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's have a look at what we've got in here. So we'll have a look at this one first. I don't think we've got any PE in this kit. So there must be PE in the kit. So here we have a bag, nice resealable bag. So we have decals. We'll have a look at these. Decals, decals, whatever you want to call them. Watch out for the sticky tape on the top. You don't want to get that stuck on your decals. Got to try and get these out, which is proving difficult. So we get those out like that. And then we can have a look at these seat belts. So we've got these seatbelt material, which, as I say, I'm not a big fan of. You kind of get this white edge on it. I'd much rather have the ribbon. Yeah, we must have photo etch because we have buckles and stuff to go on. So that's that, seatbelts. And then here we've got 2 sheets of decals. So we have here, we have our rivets around the fuel, where the top of the fuel tank will be. And then here we have our rivets for the rivet washers for the carbon fibre. We've got aluminium here for the heat. This will be the heat areas underneath the turbos to protect the carbon fibre from the turbos. And then we've got these red bands, not exactly sure what they are. We've got some funny shaped washers there. And then here we have the Lotus badge. We've got the instrument panel. Or is that the steering wheel? I'm not sure now. And then we've got Brembo decals for the brakes. So we've only got 4 of them. So when they say other side, they don't mean the other side of the caliper. They mean the other side of the car. So be careful of that. And then here we've got our rev counter. And then we've got our Goodyear tyre decals. Not sure you can make them out, but you can see you've got goo. And then you've got ear. And then you've got die. So you make it up. and then the eagle is one word, obviously, because the eagle's not a word, not a licensable word. Not exactly sure what they are. I'm going to grab my magnifier. There's some little tiny white decals there. I'm not even sure what they say. They are literally just lines. I'm not sure what they're for. They're literally just dotted lines. So there we are. And then here we've got our decals for the actual car itself. So you've got the DeLonghi there, and we've got all the Lotus badges. We've got Honda, Elf, Philips, Senna, Micromax, Brembo, Applicon. Very nice indeed. And you've got your electronics. That's where the electronic cutoff will be fitted. So yeah, very nice indeed. And you've got some, is that Willens there? Nope, that's for the brake calipers. That's your heat stickers. So you'll have, they put stickers on the brake calipers so they could see the temperature that the brakes were getting up to. So if you've never seen these before, I've used these in engineering. Basically, it's a heat sensitive sticker and it has a range, and the range will be, say, 50 to 80 degrees. And what it does, it changes colour. As soon as it gets to 50, the colour will change from white to yellow, and then it goes up the scale. And then once it cools, it keeps that colour, so you can see after the event how hot it's got. These days, of course, you have thermocouples and stuff feeding computers, and then the computer responds with water cooling and God knows what. But, yeah, so that's all that. So what I'm going to do now is get these parts out of the bags, and we'll have a look at what we've got in the box. Okay, so here we have our body, which is looking very, very nice and cleanly moulded. Can't see any evidence of any sink marks or anything. There may be something there. For some reason they've put a cross, they've got a cross in the ejector pin mark. And what's happened is you've got a sink mark due to it. So that'll just need a light sand. It won't need to be filled or anything. Just a very light sand will get rid of that. This is the guy where the guy I showed you, the Japanese guy building the model. Yeah, we've got a sink mark down there as well, and there's a seam line there too. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a seam line here in front of that screw hole, and there's a sink mark behind it. So a little bit of work required around there. But basically, you glue this intake in here, and then there's seams around there to be filled. And he's basically made a whole video on how to sand the super glue down. But it's very nice on the top. You can't see any sink marks anywhere there. Again, that's where a screw goes, so I'm not too sure about that. They actually have to sand those out and just have the body resting on, rather than have visible screws. They don't look very nice, do they? In fact, let's just have a quick look at the box. Yeah, you see there's no pictures of the built-up model on the box. There's the built-up model there, and we can see the screws here. So there's one there and one there. And we've got a screw on the front here, which is, yeah, it's right in the middle of the Honda there. So probably get rid of those and use magnets or something rather than having screws visible, because they never look good, do they? I'd rather use little tiny bolts or something. But yeah. But anyway, there it is. There's the inside of it, and you can see here 2022 Macau. I think everything's got that on it, so I'm not sure if 2022 is the year it was tooled, or what. I thought it was a fairly new kit. I thought it was 2024, but it could have been tooled in 22 and then it went back for rework or whatever. But yeah, we've got a seam there as well. We've got the slide moulding. You can see there's a seam there, so there's a bit of work to do on the body, but you know, nothing out of the reach of any ordinary man. And then here we've got the, if you haven't already seen it, go and have a look at my Lancia Stratos videos. I've done how to deal with all this sort of stuff. And I say it's using the Stratos, but it's typical for any model car really. So here we've got the sort of monocoque. This would be carbon fibre. Don't forget, if you are using carbon fibre decals, paint this. Don't put the decals straight on plastic. They won't stay. Okay, so it needs to be painted. But we've also got sink marks here where we've got these great big sections there where this is screwed down, I'm guessing, to the bottom. We've got big sink marks in here. That one there is not so bad. In fact, you can only see it, you can't really feel it. But that one, you can see that one, it's quite big. That needs to be dealt with, unless it's covered by a radiator or something. But I would deal with it anyway. Yeah, very nice. We've got positive moulding for the washers. If you get any aftermarket set, they'll all have to be sanded off. I'm not sure if the aftermarket set has rivets or if it's just washers. The other thing is here, due to the moulding capabilities, this isn't slide moulded. No, this isn't slide moulded. These screws, these washers here are oval. So much like you get with ship hulls, as they go around the stern, the portholes become oval. So yeah, best sand those off anyway and just use the decals because they don't look very good. You can see they're oval. So yeah, at the moment, not looking so brilliant, is it? We've got sink marks and we've got some moulding issues. But if you want a 12th scale Lotus 99T, your only other option is Model Factory Hero, which will not be an easy build and will cost you, well, probably 3 times the cost of this if you're paying £185. And then here in this little resealable bag, we've got the engine and transmission and moulded together, which is a nice touch. It's going to be nice and rigid. This is beautifully moulded. This is definitely slide moulded, and very nice it is too. We've got a seam along the bottom there, which is on the bottom, so you don't need to worry about it. Again, we've got 2022 Macau in there. But yeah, you can see the detail on that engine block is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now this is all painted in a semi-gloss black. You won't want to do it a metallic black or something like that. But get your LP paints out and fill your boots. Lotus there on the diff cover. Lotus there on the rear end. The same on that side. So check your references. Not sure if that Lotus will be picked out in yellow paint or something. I've got a feeling, I'm looking at this now. Yeah, the Lotus is raised. So you've got a raised boss and then the Lotus is raised on that. So we could perhaps pick that out with our Galeri metallic colour pens. So I haven't used them yet, but it'd be an option to use them there. Like I'm ever going to build this, right? So I become a collector, I think, rather than a builder. So there we go. We'll put that back in its bag. Keep it safe from harm. Seal it up. There we are. So that basically, that takes care of that section of the box. So you've got this little box here with everything in it, with the body in it and everything. So let's have a look at some bigger sprues. We'll stay with we'll look at those bits and pieces in a minute. Let's have a look at some bigger sprues. So we've got here, we have a bag with the bottom of the monocoque, our under tray and wheels. So we'll get those out of the way. So here is our under tray. Oh dear. Did Italeri mould this? As you can see on here, I mean, none of this will really be visible on the finished model because it's all going to be screwed down. That's going to go down like that on there, okay? So as you can see, none of it's visible anyway on the finished model, but if you want to display it without that on, you want to look at the bottom of the model, you can see we've got, all on here, we've got ejector pin marks, okay? And we've got all these little holes here for picking up bits and pieces for parts to fit onto. There's our pivots for our pedals, so obviously that ejector pin mark there is going to be visible. Those there are going to be visible, I'm guessing, but from there back I don't think they will be. That one there may be visible when you're looking at the front suspension. So, you know, have a look at the finished, have a look at some pictures of finished models, the real car, whatever, and decide what you need to do, or just fill them all and be safe. But the trouble is, we got here on the back, you can see all of that is showing through. It's all showing through as raised detail. You can see there, especially that one, that square hole in the middle, that's a location for something. It's come through. Now, I can't actually, yeah I can, I didn't think I could feel it. Let me just grab this. This is a very worn out sanding stick. But it's not as bad as it looks. It actually looks a lot worse than it feels. It's very strange. You can see that I've gone over that sanding stick and you can see that it's actually touched the centre there. But it's it's sort of just touching those high areas, but it looks a lot worse than it really is. But you may not want to worry about it because it's underneath anyway. But I would have thought for a brand new kit they would be a bit better than that, but hey ho. I suppose they could have made this a lot thicker and then it wouldn't have been to scale, and then we'd moan about that. They could have made the hole shallower and then you wouldn't have very good location, so we'd moan about that. But I'd rather this than loads of sink marks, because that is literally sand it off, give it a polish, give it a coat of paint, job done. The ejector pin marks, yeah, alright. Unfortunately, they're part of the moulding process. You can't really do without them. But it's a shame they didn't put their ejector pins on the top of those bosses or something. You know, make a square ejector pin for that, rather than having these. But they do have lots of holes in, so they do need to be pushed off the pins. But there we go, it is what it is. And then here we've got the actual under tray. So we've got the same on here. You can see we've got where we've got, like here, we've got these location holes here for the belly, for the engine. You can see it's come through on this side. So again, quick sand over. If you get in the aftermarket set, you'll have all carbon fibre decals to go on here anyway. Don't forget, give it a gloss coat or something, give it a coat of gloss black paint or whatever. Don't put your decals straight on plastic, they won't stay on there for long. But there we go, again, we've got ejector pin marks to deal with there. They're going to be visible when the top's taken off. So yeah, bear that in mind. And then here we have our wheels, which are one piece, which is very nice. And yeah, they're die mags, aren't they? I think they're 13-inch diameter, I think. But yeah, very, very nice. One-piece wheels. I can't see any flash or anything on there. There's ejector pin marks on the backs, but they're very, very shallow. And unless you're going to display a wheel upside down, then nothing to worry about. But yeah. Again, we've got that 2022 Macau on there. So very, very nice indeed. I think what I'll do is bag this up later, because I don't like the way that was packaged up, because everything's getting scratched. And then over here, in our last sprue in the left-hand side, we have a little bag of clear parts. That's very thoughtful. Well done. Thank you, Beemax. Brilliant. If I can get this bloody bag open. Get that sprue out of the way. They have made the brake fluid reservoirs from clear plastic, so we can put fluid in them, you know, give them a tint, whatever. We can have them beautifully done. So that is really nice. Thank you, well done. So cut them off the sprues, polish out the seams, paint them with a sort of misty white, and then give it a misty yellow, masked off, make it like there's fluid in there. But yeah, really cool. Really good. I guess the only thing they could have done better than that is made them in a foggy white colour, but depends what material they're made of. Again, check your references. And we've got hoses to go on there as well, tiny little unions on the top. And there's our rear fog lamp there, so for use in low visibility. So that's our clear sprue. And then here we have a bag of yellow sprues. Where's the... Oh, boy, that's the smallest I've ever seen. Tiny little rolled over end on the bag, which is very nice indeed. So that can come out of there. So we have here sprue H. So these are our air intakes, and these are part of the bodywork. It's a nice solid, usually yellow plastic can be quite opaque, translucent, but this is nice and solid, and it's very, very nice. Again, check your instructions and glue together as much as you can before you start painting, because you know, if you paint these and then glue them together, you'll have seams to clean up, obviously. But when it comes to bits like this, you may want to glue this into the body, deal with the seams, and then do the paintwork. But yeah, very, very nice indeed. Very nice. Liking that a lot. And then here we have the rear wing. So that must be like a central mount or something. And then here we've got the... Is this the rear wing or the front wing? This is the rear wing. So that's going to go into there. So you'll have seams there. But thoughtfully what they've done is left the leading edge and the trailing edge in plastic. So you can just clean the sprue gates up on them, but you'll have seams in here. So that's nice. And then you've got the little winglets there going on. You've got some swirly marks there from the moulding, but I can't feel anything. So give that a Yeah, I can just feel it actually. Just give it a check with the sander so you can feel it. We've got some sink marks there to be dealt with. And then on the back of here, we've got ejector pin marks, which are all raised, so that's good. But I've just noticed on this wing here, you can see it is basically one big sink mark. But that won't be too difficult to repair. Get some filler on there, sand it out. Bear in mind you've got that little lug in the middle. But yeah, the ejector pin marks are all raised, so that's good. They just sand them off, job done. And the same here, these are all raised as well on these end plates. So that's cool, well done. And there's a sink mark along there, I think. You can hardly feel it, but you can see it along that front edge. And then here we have, these are our side air intakes, front wing parts, front wing end gates, end plates. These are the spoilers that are going around the, or the fairings going around the wishbones. And then there's the more parts of the front wing. And then here are the body sides. Again, we've got a lot of detail on the inside. Got these heavy areas here for these metal brackets to go into. And as a result, we've got sink marks on the outside. So we're kind of getting into Italeri territory here. But I will say the issue here, yes, it's a shame we have sink marks, but the sink marks are there because of these location lugs, which give us a very positive building experience. The sink marks in the Italeri are there because they pulled it out of the mold too quickly. It could be better. It could be better. But when you bear in mind, guys, you're looking at this kit, this is cheaper, for what I've paid for it, this is cheaper than the Stratos. There you go. But yeah, we've got those washers on there again. We've got the rivet washers as well. So again, we'll have to get rid of them and put the aftermarket ones on. Got some lovely mirrors there. They look very nice in scale, don't they? Again, we've got ejector pin marks on these end fences, and they're all raised. Those there will need to be filled because they're recessed. They're very recessed, actually, very deep. And then these here are all raised. So that's cool. There's not a lot of work to do. It's just these sink marks here and here would be a problem if you're keeping these plastic rivets, because obviously sanding around them is going to be a nightmare. Or you just put up with the sink marks. Maybe the real car had sink marks. Hey, who knows? Guess that might be their excuse. I'm not going to believe it. So we'll put that away afterwards. And then moving over here to the other side of the box, got those little grey screws there. We'll look at those in a minute. I've got a big sprue, a big bag of sprues here. So these are obviously, you can see, where's the bag opening bit? There it is. The smallest little resealable lips I've ever seen. There we go, sorry about the noise, guys. Okay, so we have 3 sprues in here. There's a broken off part there, which is what I was expecting. So this is sprue D. So that obviously is our seat, which is very nice. Got a ejector pin mark right in the bottom to be sanded out. I'm guessing you'll get carbon fibre decals for that in the aftermarket set. And then we've got the Venturi on the back. Oh dear, what a mess. I'm not sure. I don't think there is. I can't see anything in the box. I don't remember from the instructions. But that is a complete and utter mess. We've got ejector pin marks here. And there's lines going across here diagonally. I'm not sure if they're marking something out. Let's just quickly have a look at the instructions, guys, because that is a major, major mess. Okay, so as you can see here, we are literally just fitting that rear Venturi to the back of the under tray, and that is it. We're not doing anything else with it. So yeah, that one there is for a new tooled kit. It's disgusting. You've got ejector pin marks all in here. You've got a massive raised one there. You've got 4 here to deal with, and then we've got ejector pin marks in here to deal with. This is okay. You've got a bit of a grainy finish, but that there is a complete and utter mess. You can see it on there. You know, I mean, it's all wavy. The top's all right. The inside of it okay, but from the back it looks terrible. But I'm guessing you're going to get carbon fibre decals anyway for it from the aftermarket. So you're going to sand it all down, give it a clear coat, paint it black, whatever. But yeah, that's going to need some work. And then here we've got turbo piping. I think this is, I don't think that's exhaust, or is that exhaust piping? It's piping of some sort, all split in half, so you're going to have seams to deal with and all of that. So perhaps if you're going to start the build, do all this first, put it back in the box, let it all go hard, so when you need it, it's ready to just be sanded and you can use it. So there's that one, that's sprue D, as I say. And then here we've got sprue E. So we've got, this is trunking here for the radiators. We've got the radiators here, which are beautifully moulded. Really, really nice. And then here we've got the top plates that seal in the box for the radiators, intercoolers, whatever. And you've got the Lotus moulded on there. This will be carbon fibre as well. And then you've got your little Zeus fasteners moulded on as well. Brake cooling ducts. Really lovely. Now, unfortunately, here we've got ejector pin marks again. We've got this rough plastic as well. I don't know why they've done that rough, grainy plastic. We've got ejector pin marks on all of these parts as well. And then here we've got some tubing. It's kind of one piece hollowed out back, so just a seam line to get out. And then you've got two piece for that part of it there. So again, glue them together now, let them dry while you build the rest of the model, and then they're ready to go when you're ready to go. And then here we have, I'm trying to see where that part came from. There, by the look of it. So here we have some suspension parts. Not exactly sure what that is, but it's lovely moulding, beautifully done, very crisp. We've got our uprights there for the front, uprights for the rear. We've got some more actuators for the suspension. These are obviously for the actual hydraulic suspension itself. We've got our pedal box there with our adjustable bar in the middle, drive shafts. That looks like it's a gear linkage or something. And then here we've got little bits of green. We've got our wheel nuts there going on. I believe they're replaced with metal in the aftermarket set. Is that the rear light mount there? And then we've got the actuators here, hydraulic actuator components, pedals. It's all very nice. You've got your little dump valves there. Where's that? That's the dump valves. Where are the wastegates? Were the wastegates moulded on those tubings? I think they were, yeah. So very nice. Very nice indeed. Ejector pin marks on the back of those master cylinders. And we've got ejector pin marks on the drive shaft, but they're raised, so that'll just sand out. But it's very clean, it's very flash free. No real sick marks or anything on any of that. So yeah, nice. That's a big letdown. That rear diffuser is a big letdown, unfortunately. And then finally, in the plastic sprue parts, we have, in fact, what I'm going to do, I'll turn the camera off, I'm going to tape that to the sprue so it doesn't get lost. Right, so we've got our final big bag of sprues here. We've got the little grey parts to look at yet, but 2 sprues in this bag. I wish they'd bagged them individually. So here you can see we've got our cam covers, and we've got our ignition coils, the leads and everything all moulded on, which is fine. It spends most of its life covered up anyway, doesn't it? But I think the aftermarket sets will take care of that. We've got the actual, there's our front bulkhead there for our to protect our driver's legs and feet. And then here we've got insides of the brake ducts. We've got the top of the transmission here. There's down the sides of the seat, sides of the engine block. It's the inner sides, and the steering wheel. That's going to be the footrest for the pedals. We've got some little intercoolers of some sort there, cooling something or other, oil coolers probably. And then there we've got our instrument panel. We've got the front and back of the engine, whichever is which. Another bulkhead. That's part of the suspension by the look of it. And then, I don't know if this has actually got working suspension, I guess it might have. We've got some sort of bulkhead there So again, we've got ejector pin marks, but this time I don't think any of them are visible. So that's nice. And there's no real sink marks or anything. We've got this rough, see this rough grainy finish on the plastic, which is a little strange. It's not like, you know, the Airfix grainy plastic of old. It's much rougher than that. And it feels like quite a nice plastic as well. It's not all hard. It's quite, you can see it's quite on the softer side, like ICM stuff kind of thing. I love ICM plastic. And yeah, but again, this I don't understand why I've got this grainy finish on there. That all needs sanding, especially if you're using decals. Again, I say again, don't put the decals straight on the plastic, guys. So that's that one. And then here's our final big sprue. We've got some beautiful parts on here. So we've got our turbos, okay, and they've actually got, it should be Garrett, is it on there? Or is it IH? What does it say on there? IHI turbo, okay. So paint those in a lovely, you know, get some silver matte, mix it with some white, very, very pale cast aluminium colour, make it look lovely. That look great. So there's that, and there's some wide pieces there for the intake plenum. That's where your pop-off valve's going to go. We got the there's the compressor housing, there's the turbine housing for the turbos. I'm guessing this is going to be the turbo mount or something, or is it part of the rear brakes or something? Lots of little greeblies here, some little parts of fuel systems or whatever there. The brakes look lovely. They're carbon and they have a really good look to them. But they're nice and flat. No ejector pin marks where they're going to be seen. They're made in two halves. They've got these holes in the back, which I think is correct. There's the intake plenum there. That looks like part of the roll bar. And then we've got an oil cooler there for the transmission. I think that is. We've got ECUs here. We've got 4 brake calipers. There's just one piece. Intake manifold flanges there. More turbo pipe work. There's a balanced pipe of some sort by the look of it. Intakes with the fuel injectors integral, so they're very nice. More intake parts there, and then there's a fuel feeds. And then up here we have, that's a hydraulic body of some sort. I'll just show you around the sprue so you can see the detail. It's very, very nice. Very nice indeed. You can see the detail on those turbos, they're beautiful. They are beautiful. They've even got the compressor wheels inside, look, down inside there, so if you want to display them on the bench, whatever, with the engine stripped down, you can. So yeah, very, very nice indeed. Beautiful. And we've even got all the detail on the back of those. You've got the bolt-on flange plate there with the bolt detail and everything. Those turbos are some of the nicest. In fact, no, I'm going to go. They are the nicest turbos I've ever seen. Generally, they get very overlooked and they're very softly moulded, but they are beautiful. I've got another turbo car on the way for you to look at. Yeah, we don't have the. I can't see them. We don't have the turbine wheels in there, I don't think. Yeah, very, very nice. It is a lovely, lovely model, guys. It really is. It's a shame about that the sink marks in the body on the yellow sprue, and it's a shame about the diffuser, but none of it is insurmountable. I mean, it's not like it's you know, we're not sort of, let's do that later, guys. We're not comparing this to the Lancia Stratos from Italeri. It's a million times better than that, and less money if you get it from Leeds, Model Shop Leeds. So here's our final plastic sprue bag, and it looks like these lots of greeblies. So here we have lots of little electrical connectors. I'm saying electrical connectors. I think they're all electrical connectors, or maybe some hose fittings. But they are gorgeous. And if you could make those out close up, but they are lovely. All separate little. Obviously, they've done a generic sprue for all their 12 scale range. You can see here we've got these connecting couplers for the wiring. They are beautiful, really nice. And then here we've got, just looking at the numbers, 8266819. 82668, is that the kit number? Nope, the kit number is 12001 26,000. What did we see on here? Nothing. There's no numbers on the sprues that I can see. So it's not like Tamiya in that regard where you get numbers on the sprues, but they've got it on this one. But there's a little hydraulic unit there, or a fuel unit or something. You can see on there that's got something moulded on. It says Lotus. Remember guys, with this silver plastic it always looks very soft. As soon as you paint it, bang, there it is. It's there. So that looks like it's probably specific to this model because it's got Lotus on it. But that's some sort of filter unit there. It might be for the hydraulics. I believe I heard in a documentary that the hydraulic pump is driven off of the cam, one of the cams. So here we have some Goodrich hose fittings. So these are going to be generic, I'm thinking. But yeah, we've got beautiful straight fittings there. We've got 30 degrees there, 90 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, and 180s. Beautiful. They need to sell that sprue individually. Beemax, if you're watching this, sell that sprue individually, and people will buy it because it's great for super detailing all your cars. And then upscale it to 8th, downscale it to 24th, and we'll all be happy. Yeah, very nice indeed. They are gorgeous. See all those Goodrich hose fittings, and they're all going to be you've got LP45 and LP46 for those, for the metallic red and gold and the red and blue. And here's something I've never seen in a car kit before, but it's probably more to scale than having photo etch. I was expecting photo etch ones, but these are lovely. These are your Willens harness fittings. So those are go over the top. That's where they flip them up to slacken them, and then flip them down to pull the belt tight. These may be a little thick to scale, but you know, they are what they are. You can see there's the catch in the middle. I actually prefer this to having them in photo etch, I must be honest. These can easily be thinned down. You've got some great big ejector pin marks on them anyway. But yeah, that I really like. So even if the aftermarket set comes with photo etch parts, I would use these plastic parts. I think they're lovely. There's sometimes, you know, it's like in that Tiger tank I'm building currently from Ryfield Model. They give you photo etch parts as part of the upgrade set, but then, you know, you've got these little lifting hooks and stuff like that. In real life, it would have been like 1 inch plate, you know, so in 35th, you know, sort of 0.5 mil, whatever, it's not like 8,000.2 like a photo etch. Okay, so now we've looked at all the plastic parts, so now we've got these 2 boxes to look at. So we'll actually have a look at that one last. So this, I think this is great. I mean, I know it means absolutely nothing to the finished product and it affects the quality of the kit, not at all, but isn't that lovely and thoughtful? Very nice. So in here we have a bag of stuff. We have bags of stuff. So we've got a lovely little Tamiya-esque screwdriver. So that's very nice. The top kind of spins, but most people won't use that anyway. They have their own. We've got a bag of parts in here we can have a look at in a second. We've got a length of vinyl tube there. It's actually quite stiff. It actually feels like heat shrink. It actually feels, it's got something written on it as well. 125 degrees on it. It feels like heat shrink. It kind of kinks like heat shrink as well. And then here we've got some wire there, which is going to be 0.6. And then we've got our 1mm vinyl tubing there, which is really nice. It's not like the horrible shiny stuff you get in a lot of kits. And also you can bend it quite tight without it kinking as well, which is a really nice touch. So we will use that. Often in car kits, the vinyl tubing is very shiny and horrible. And that wire there, it's got quite a shine to it, so that'll need to be dulled down. And then here we have our wishbones. And these are the carbon fibre impregnated parts. So there's our little spanner for our wheel nuts, which is a nice touch. And then here we have our wishbones. You can see we've got some sprue gates, and we've got ejector pin marks, and we've got mould seams to clean up. Now the review I saw, the guy questioned the square section of these, and questioned that I think it was Motorsport in Scale it was called, questioned the section of them, which got me to have a look at Google, and sure enough I've seen these and it looks correct. It looks like they were this sort of rectangular section rather than being an airfoil section. But yeah, they are very strong indeed. So that's really nice. But again, we've got seams to deal with on there, so take your time with that. Let's get those put away a minute. And we're back. So we've got this bag here, which has got lots and lots of lovely, interesting little parts in it. This is what always makes these kits really interesting. So we've got mesh there, and that feels like it's metal. It does feel like metal. It doesn't feel like nylon. It's not magnetic. It feels like metal though. And then here we've got some tiny, tiny, tiny little screws there. And we've got some nuts. That's probably our wheel nuts in there. Springs, metal springs. So I don't think the car would have had springs. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. And then here we've got lots of little tiny metal brackets for suspension pivots and stuff. So it's going to be nice and strong. And we've got more brackets there. These are the L-shaped brackets for fixing the body down. And then probably use some magnets on them instead of screws. And then here we've got some long screws for our axles. The hardware does look very nice indeed, actually. We've got some lovely looking screws there. They've got a very, very, very flat head on them. Look, really nice. Some more tiny little screws, like M1 or something. They're tiny, tiny, tiny little things. So although you're going to have exposed screw heads, they're not very big at all. So lots and lots of different screws. No labelling on the bags. I would suggest going through your instructions down here and then label up the bags S1, S2, S3 so you don't make any mistakes. There's a lot of them there. There's 4, 7, 13, 47, 78, 98, 104, 112 screws all in. So lots of screwing to do on this model. So if you like screwing, then you'll be well away. So that's all that there. Okay, so we've got a screwdriver and that and everything. So finally, we'll have a look at these. These are obviously the tyres. Again, lovely little box. No difference whatsoever to the quality of the model, but it's just nice and nice thought. Now, something I saw the guy say that did the review, he seemed to think the front tyres were too small. So I don't know, but they are very nice indeed. So here's the rear tyres. They actually have, there's no raised Goodyear moulding on them, so you wouldn't be able to paint them unless you get a stencil, and the aftermarket set comes with a stencil. Not really sure what paint you would use. If you know, please tell me in the comments below. A paint you can put on here that won't just crack off. I know that I've used MRP before on vinyl tyres and it's been brilliant. So maybe the MRP white primer would do. Please let me know in the comments if you know. Not what you think, what you know. How to paint tyres. And you can see on there we've got all the size and you know, classification ratings and dates and all sorts on there. which is really nice. Very shiny sidewalls, which isn't really very accurate. We need to dull them down a bit. And then we've got the wear indicators here. I have heard people say they're different things, and they're designed for putting the temperature probes into, for measuring the temperature of the tyres. They're not. They're wear indicators. So you can see if you've got a tyre which is wearing out or wearing unevenly, whatever, they will show you. So that's what they are. They're just moulded recesses, and when they're gone, then the tyre's had it. So yeah, there's the rear tyres. Very nice indeed. And the fronts, as I say, somebody said they're too small. It says made in USA on there. It says for racing purposes only, not for highway use. And then we've got a date in there, I think. 5SLOBB7. 5SLOHB7. So that's going to be a date of manufacture or something on there. So yeah, really, really nice. There's another bit there. D4285. That's going to be another manufacturer's code. So very thoughtful, very nicely done. Again, we've got wear indicators in there. We've got a seam around the middle. They are quite soft, and they do smell. They smell like rubber. Now, the reason I've left these tyres to last is these tyres on these Formula 1 cars can be a pain. I've actually seen one at a show, and the guy had just left it as it was, and the tyre had actually melted. So you had the tyre on, it was a Ferrari, I think it was a Revell kit, and the tyre had actually gone like that. Imagine melting the tyre over the wheel, it had gone like that. Okay, and that's what had happened. Now this is what happens to Tamiya tyres. This is off my old Ferrari, and you can see they've completely just disintegrated, and you can see where it's been sat, it's just got a flat spot on there. So those who like weighted tyres on their aircraft, get some of these wheels, get some of these tyres. But they are awful, and they have gone really, really hard. You can see that there compared to that there. So if that does happen to you, there's options on eBay these days with 3D printed tyres and stuff. But the Rolls Royce of tyres are these. These are the model factory hero tyres. They are wonderful. They're correct for the period. So these are stuck in the bag. I've done a review of these if you want to go and have a look. What I did want to do was compare the size. Sorry for the noise, guys. I know it's annoying. You don't need to tell me in the comments it's annoying. I know already. I just wanted to compare. You can see they look, the Model Factory Hero ones look slightly narrower. They're the same pretty much overall width, but they have a narrower tread width. And the overall diameter, they are very much slightly smaller. Let's just grab my calipers. They're deep enough to do it like this. I'm just going to do it so it's just touching. 52.71. 51.3. So they're like 1.4 mil smaller. These are, so if I measure these like that, we'll measure them until they're flat, 54.65, and these are 54.98. So they're near as damn it the same. I would say just go with the kit tyres, use them. They're going to need something inside them to stop them collapsing like this one has. So either turn up a nylon ring to put in there or something, or perhaps, you know, stuff them with tissue paper or something like that. But they are very, very soft, as you can see, and they will, I think they will decompose, especially if they're left in the sunlight. So this was actually in the dark, in the box. So that's how that happened, in the box. So there we are. But you can see it's absolutely just completely and utterly destroyed. All right. So there we go. So that's the MFH tyres, Model Factory Hero tyres. The part number is P1158, 1980s F1 tyre set, logo printed. And they are absolutely gorgeous. They are really, really nice. They're not cheap, but they are very, very nice. So there's our kit tyres there, and there's our box that they came in. So yeah, Really, really lovely. Okay, so there we have it. That's the review of this beautiful kit from Beemax. It's the Vintage Selection Series number 1. Kit number is 12001. And yeah, it's quite, I mean, it's got its issues with moulding and stuff. It's fairly impressive though, I think, on the whole. The moulding is lovely, crisp, clean. A lot of this fuel pipework and everything is to scale. It seems very, very nice indeed, and it looks like it would be a lovely build. Yes, we're going to have issues with seam lines. There's some sink marks. There's the mess around that rear venturi, but it's all just a case of sanding, a little bit of filling here and there, and it'll be absolutely fine. Yep, some of the sink marks in the sides of the body here are a bit annoying, especially in the side of these side panels here. But if you're getting the aftermarket set, it won't bother you at all. It's nothing like the Italeri Stratos I reviewed. It's also, if you get it from Model Centre Leeds, it's not as expensive either. So it's, you know, it is what it is. They're a fairly small company, I believe. They're fairly new. Beemax, Platz, new, whatever you want to call them. But on the whole, I think it's a lovely, lovely model. Yes, it needs a bit of work, but nothing much. Nothing insurmountable. And as I say, it's available currently from Model Centre Leeds, £185. I believe, this is just my opinion, I believe Beemax kits are going to become hard to get hold of in this country. And again, this is just my opinion. It would appear that this is getting quite hard to get hold of. The aftermarket set is practically unobtainable in this country at the moment. I don't know what's happening there. But the hobby company don't seem to be having much stock. If you look on the Model Centre Leeds website, he has 4 in stock, and he says the live stock link he has with the supplier, it says 0. So if you do want to get one of these for £185, I suggest you get over to Model Centre Leeds website fairly quickly. There'll be a link in the description down below this video. There'll also be in the description below this video, there'll be a link to Tiger Hobbies. Now Gary over at Tiger Hobbies has got some of the Beemax kits, some of the older stock, the 24 scale kits, and they're still at the old prices. So a lot of them these days can be sort of £50–60. He's still got them at £30 and £40 on his website. So go take a look. On the left hand side of the screen, when you go on the screen, down the left hand side, you can shop by manufacturer, go down to N, new, and you'll see them all there. All the kits there. They've got the BMW M3 and all the Porsches and everything. Very, very nice indeed. So so there you go. Go fill your boots. But yeah, there'll also be a link in this video down below to the, if I can find it again, there's a lap of Monaco in this very car with Ayrton Senna driving. God rest his soul. What a driver that man was. Probably the best ever. And I don't think there'll ever be another one as good as he was. Just absolutely incredible. And to all you younger guys that are into your Formula 1 and everything, go back and have a look at some of the old stuff. Go back and look at Spa in the wet when Jody Scheckter was driving, and you know, do you think drifting's cool? Go and watch Jody Scheckter driving the what was he? I think it was a Turley he was driving in the wet at Spa on the bus stop, putting it absolutely completely sideways, and they were just absolutely incredible. They had no traction control. They were manual gearboxes. They were just incredible, absolutely amazing. But go back and look at some old races. You'll absolutely love what you see. So there we go. Sorry for the waffling. I know it's been a long one, but I think the kit deserves it. It's a beautiful kit, and I will see you all soon for another review. I've got another Formula 1 car on the way, which I will review this week, and that is an old kit. So it's an old kit of an old car. So we'll see how that one looks. So I'll see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.